The ride-share that broke trust. Uber's corporate scandal. In the electrically charged streets of Silicon Valley, where every new startup claimed to be disrupting something or the other, Uber stood out like the popular kid in high school. You know, the one who always seemed to have everything. Well, someone should have probably whispered that in Travis Kalanick's ear. 2009, when the world was simpler. It was the age of budding startups. As the decade unfurled, we saw the rapid rise of a tech darling that made taxis around the world shiver with dread. Uber. It wasn't just a new app on the block. It was heralded as the messiah of modern transportation. And like any prodigious invention of its time, it promised to democratize the very essence of commuting. With a few taps on a phone, you could summon a car, feel momentarily like Bruce Wayne, and zip across town. Now, Uber wasn't born in a garage like some of its tech siblings, but its genesis story is equally captivating. Integrating map technology with a payment gateway in 2009 might seem like child's play today. But back then, it was like discovering fire. An app that could hail a cab, track its movement, and handle payments was practically sorcery. 2014, a time when "Let's Uber there" was becoming as ubiquitous as asking for a Kleenex when one needed a tissue. And for many, the word taxi was beginning to sound as antiquated as horse-drawn carriage. While parents reminisced about the days they hailed down yellow cabs, their kids were swiping away, waiting for their next Uber ride. While a major chunk of the world was ogling at Uber's rapidly growing footprint, with its presence in 58 countries by the end of 2014, others were side-eyeing their expansion strategies. The word on the street was that Uber was playing it fast and loose. But weren't they all? In the age of move fast and break things, wasn't Uber just doing what was expected? By 2015, Uber was valued at a staggering $62.5 billion. To put that in perspective, that's more than the GDP of some small countries. For comparison's sake, Lyft, its main competitor, was valued at about $5.5 billion during the same period. Clearly, someone was hogging all the pie. But behind the glossy screens of the Uber app lay a tumultuous tapestry of corporate intrigue. Now, the problem wasn't just that Uber was supposedly cutting some ethical corners. No. The real issue was that it was doing so while riding on a wave of public trust. People weren't just using Uber. They were living the Uber life. Young Anna from Texas was making ends meet by moonlighting as an Uber driver. She wasn't just a statistic. She was a testament to Uber's promise to empower. Similarly, James, an investor from New York, wasn't just betting on a company. He was investing in the future as he saw it. First, there were the murmurs. Susan Fowler, an engineer who probably didn't know she was about to drop a bombshell when she penned a blog post in February 2017, detailing allegations of sexual harassment and gender discrimination during her time at Uber. This wasn't just a minor hiccup. It was a full-blown PR catastrophe. Fowler's claims exposed an underbelly of corporate dysfunction, punctuating the very ethos of a company that promised to drive the future. The scandals weren't confined to just internal dynamics. Travis Kalanick, Uber's then CEO, had a viral video having a heated argument with an Uber driver over fare changes. The incident revealed a side of Kalanick that many found jarring, especially when juxtaposed against the face of a company that was supposedly all about community and service. Following the allegations, Uber commissioned an internal investigation into its workplace practices. Leading the investigation was none other than former U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder. When the results surfaced in June 2017, they weren't pretty. The Holder report recommended a laundry list of changes at Uber, including rethinking senior leadership and enhancing board oversight. Uber was creaking under the weight of all these scandals. And when trusty roads, the numbers follow suit. In the U.S., Uber's net ride bookings saw deceleration, growing only 15% in the second quarter of 2017, compared to 37% in the previous one. High-profile departures became the order of the day. Jeff Jones, the company's president, or the senior VP of engineering Amit Singhal, exits became as common as morning coffee breaks. And finally, in what seemed like the climax of this corporate operate, Travis Kalanick, the once unassailable CEO and co-founder, was nudged to resign. Legally, the company found itself in increasingly hot water. Lawsuits began cropping up like pop-up ads you can't close fast enough. There was the self-driving car lawsuit with Alphabet's Waymo, which claimed Anthony Levandowski, a former Waymo employee and later an Uber executive, stole trade secrets. Then there was the gray ball controversy where Uber allegedly used software to evade regulators. The list wasn't short, and for every lawsuit that emerged, Uber's integrity meter seemed to drop another notch. Perhaps the most sensational legal bombshell came when news broke of Uber's hush-hush $100,000 payout. This is to silence hackers who had stolen the personal data of 57 million users and drivers. Investors, once clamoring to get a piece of Uber, now looked on with a mix of disdain and concern. SoftBank, for instance, proposed a deal in late 2017 that would see them buying share at a discounted valuation of $48 billion, a significant dip from Uber's pinnacle valuation of $68 billion. Now, SoftBank buying into your company isn't exactly a crisis, but when they're buying in at a 30% markdown, it's like a millionaire shopping at a discount store. Eyebrow-raising, to say the least. To add to their growing list of challenges, across the pond in London, one of Uber's largest markets, the Transport Authority refused to renew its license, citing the company's approach and conduct demonstrated a lack of corporate responsibility. But wait, there's more. The lawsuit with Waymo alone, while settled, cost Uber a pretty penny, $245 million in equity, to be precise. Yet, amidst this chaos, there was one gleaming beacon of hope. With the appointment of Dara Khosrowshahi, there seemed to be a genuine intent to shift gears. As the new CEO, Dara didn't shy away from admitting past mistakes. "We've got things wrong along the way," he publicly confessed. An acknowledgement, perhaps the first step towards healing. With Dara Khosrowshahi at the helm, the first order of business was a massive rebranding exercise. The lessons, it seemed, were being noted. Sweeping changes were initiated, starting with the company's very core, its cultural values. Gone were the aggressive mantras of yesteryears. In came a commitment to safety, transparency, and integrity. For instance, Uber introduced features like Ride Check, which uses GPS, accelerometer, and other sensors in drivers' smartphones to detect potential crashes. Market-wise, the numbers told a cautious tale of recovery. While competitors like Lyft reveled in a temporary gain, Uber, with its more extensive network and deeper pockets, started showing signs of financial stabilization. By late 2019, their market share bounced back, touching a commanding 69% in the US. Looking back, Uber's story wasn't just about an app or a service. It was a reflection of the precarious balance modern corporations tread between relentless ambition and ethical responsibility. If there's a lesson here, it's perhaps that no company, no matter how revolutionary, is immune to the consequences of its actions. But for now, as riders around the world tap on that familiar black and white icon, awaiting their chariots of convenience, the ghost of Uber's past rides shotgun, an ever-present reminder that in the fast lane of tech innovation, it's not just about where you're going, but how you get there. And maybe, just maybe, it's worth checking your rearview mirror once in a while.